What's up, guys? I'm back. Sorry, it's been forever. Obviously I have a new vehicle now, and it's just been crazy. I've been going here, there, and everywhere with it. And just every time I go, I forget to take the camera. I've been back at the gym. I went to my first NXT event last weekend, and it was absolutely amazing. I had the opportunity to meet Shayna Baszler, which was even more amazing and better than I can ever describe to you. But what I wanted to do today is just tell you a little bit about what I learned from this experience as far as getting my van, and also show you some tips for what you should have in your handicap accessible van if you don't already. One of the things that I would advise you to do when you are searching for a van or a car to be adapted, things like that, is go ahead and get some bids. Don't just stick with one company because your friend has that company. You could get ripped off, which is one of the reasons that I switched companies that I'm with now. I switched to Ilderton Conversion out of Asheville. They also have one in Myrtle Beach, which is great because I'm much closer to Myrtle Beach than I am Asheville. So Myrtle Beach kind of handles like if I have problems with the ramp or things like that. Asheville handles if I actually have problems with the electronic equipment. So don't go with the first bid when they tell you like, oh, it's going to cost this much for us to give you a handicap accessible vehicle, because believe it or not, Asheville was I checked with 3 companies, including Asheville, and Asheville was the cheapest company. Also, you want to make sure you have a driving evaluator. My driving evaluator was in McClure, so you want to make sure that you get evaluated for the equipment and the vehicle that you need. And that would be the first thing I would do after you kind of look at, you know what you're going to go with, and you kind of look at your companies. The next thing I would do is make sure your driving instructor goes with you when you get fitted, okay? So that he can make sure, or she can make sure that you get what you need. And they will give you their honest opinion. They will see what works and what doesn't. I mean, sometimes you can get a vehicle and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I didn't think about this and I didn't realize this was going to happen. So your driving instructor can kind of help you through that. And then the third thing that I would tell you to do is that you cannot be afraid to drive. Like, once you get your vehicle, you're just going to have to get out there and do it. And so that's the other thing too, is, you know, what's the purpose of having a vehicle if you can't go where you want and do what you want? So you've got to drive. And I would take it slow, you know, if you've never had a handicap accessible vehicle before and this is your first one, your driving instructor is probably going to give you some parameters, like, you know, only drive at this time, or don't take the interstate just yet. Get used to it. It took me, so I've been driving for 12 years, and then I just got this vehicle, and it took me about 2 weeks to kind of get used to everything, because this vehicle was completely different from my first vehicle. But that's all it took. I'm driving here, there, and everywhere now. I just made an hour-and-a-half trip last weekend, like I said, and I wasn't fatigued. I did great. So, and that was a month after I had gotten my van. So, you know, it takes a little time. 2 weeks is all I needed, really. But for someone who's just starting to drive, it's probably going to take you a little bit longer to get used to things. So, switching gears. If you have a handicap accessible vehicle, one of the first things that I would tell you to get, if you don't have it already, is a reacher, okay? Because you're going to drop stuff in your van or your car. And to be stuck without one is like being stuck like without a vehicle, okay? It's awful when you drop something and you can't reach it, and you don't necessarily want to have to ask a stranger to come in your car and hand you something that you dropped. That's just not safe. And what I do is I wedge my reacher in between the passenger seat and this little box right here. I just kind of wedged it in there. That way it won't fall. I don't keep it in the back seat. One of the reasons I don't keep it in the back seat, if I have to slam on brakes, that's going to be one of the first things that falls. And then it's going to be an obstacle if I need to get out of the van. So I make sure it's wedged in between the seat and this little computer here, and that way if I need it I can just grab it and do what I need to do. Another thing that I will tell you that you need to have in your van, if you don't already and you use an electronic gas and brake like I do, my electronic gas and brake is made out of metal. Your hand goes on the metal when you drive, and therefore in the summertime, guess what? It gets super duper hot. So what I decided to do, I got a little hand towel, and every time I park, I cover up this hand control with this hand towel. And actually, you'll say, well, it's still going to be hot. Yes, that's true. But this takes it down a couple degrees. And then what I do when I first get in my vehicle is I crank my air completely, like all the way down, and the fans all the way up. And then I make sure I have this one over here pointed toward the electronic gas and brake. And honestly, it maybe takes a minute or two to cool this thing down, and then I'm good to go. So make sure you have one of these to cover up your equipment. If you have a spinner knob that's metal, also take a towel and cover up your spinner knob. This spinner knob is actually not metal, so it doesn't get that hot, but the one that I had before was, and it would get boiling hot, so you want to make sure that you cover that up. The third thing that I have is, and I would encourage you, so a lot of people that are in wheelchairs, sometimes they can't reach the button that is, like if you go to Sonic, for example, the little red button that you have to push to do your order. Well, my dad made this little stick for me, and so all I do is I roll down my window, I push it out, and then I hit the button. So that might be helpful for some of you. And what I do is I keep this down. What I'll do is I'll put it in the cup holder and slide it all the way down so it is within reach if I need it. I also have a phone car charger. I know that kind of goes without saying, but you want to make sure you have one of those. And also, I keep my registration and proof of insurance up here in this little CD holder that I have. That is super useful. If you get stopped, you don't want to be reaching over here. I can't reach my console anyway. And I don't necessarily want to have to ask a police officer to come around my car, open my door, open my console, and then try to find my stuff. That's not safe for them, and it's not safe for me either. So what I do is I just keep it up here. Then watch. If I do get stopped and I need to find it, this just comes down, and then it's right here. So all I have to do is do this number, and I've got everything that I need right here to hand to him. My license is in my wallet. I have a chain wallet. I've gone over that with you guys before. It's super helpful. My wallet's actually in my lap, so I can get to everything that I need, no problem, and then I can hand it to them, and that way they're safe and I'm as safe as I can be. And again, this is super duper helpful. If you don't have one already and you drive and you have to reach over, that's just crazy, okay? Also, I keep just like my my paperwork for my electronics and my paperwork for my car in the back of the seat. There's like a little holder, and so I just keep everything in the back of this seat, and that way if somebody has to come to me and make a repair, I've got all the paperwork that I need and I don't have any issues. So those are just some tips for you guys. Hopefully, you know, like I said, I've heard people say, you know, oh, it costs so much to get a new vehicle. Yeah, I know. Mine was $95,000. It does cost a lot, but it's super worth it. If you're thinking about getting a handicap accessible vehicle, like you think it's just too much, like there's no way I could get that much money, go ahead and start early. I set my GoFundMe at like $50,000, which was a huge stretch. I knew it when it happened, but you never know. Go ahead and start early. If you know you want a handicap accessible vehicle, you know it's going to have to be a van, you know you might have to have some expensive equipment, go ahead and start early with the fundraising. Do it 2 years in advance. That's what I should have done, honestly. Go ahead and do it 2 years in advance. Start with a bake sale. Start with a yard sale. Like, do the small things first. Set your GoFundMe up. Tell a story. And just do it. You never know what's going to happen. I was able to put down, how much did I put down? I put down like close to $10,000. I have $4,000 saved up from my own money. So start your own savings account separate from your regular bank account. That way you can put money in that account. It won't be touched, okay? And you won't have to worry about, man, did I touch the money that I wasn't supposed to touch? Get a separate account for that, okay? And also start talking with your bank. I used South State Bank. They were wonderful. This was the first handicap accessible conversion that they had done, that they gave like somebody a loan on. So go ahead and talk with your bank. Get with South State, man. They were awesome. They really helped me. Start talking with your bank. Start doing all that kind of stuff. And just start working on it. Like, it's not going to happen, and you're not going to be able to get a van if you just sit there and go, oh, woe is me. I won't ever be able to drive. You're right, because you're sitting still. You're not moving. You're not doing anything. So go ahead and start early. Put the word out. Get you a social media account. Put it on every social media account you can. And then start telling your friends. What I did, I started telling my family members. They told their friends. I told my friends. And it just kind of spiraled. Okay? Start early. Get on that YouTube channel. You're on YouTube right now. Start your own channel. Okay? It can happen. It does happen. Yes, I have a $1,500 a month payment. Luckily, I work a job that, you know, it right now my parents are helping me with half of it. But hopefully within the next few years, I'll be making enough money by working my way up in the university that I won't have to ask them for help anymore. So again, you never know what can happen though. Your whole van might get covered, especially if you start early. My problem was I didn't start early enough, and that was one of the things I learned too. If you are gonna require help, you're gonna have to start early. So go ahead and start now. I hope these tips were super helpful for you. I just got home from church, wanted to shoot this video, but I'm going inside to get some lunch. I will talk with you guys soon. I know it's been a month since I recorded a video. I appreciate all you guys sticking with me. Continue to stick with me. It's going to be cool. We may go on some awesome trips together. Keep tuning in. We will be back on track for weekly vlogs every weekend. So I will see you soon. And remember, there's nothing you can't do.